So the other day I was on Instagram and I was scrolling through my feed and I saw this. And I was like, something doesn't make sense there. Like there's something that just doesn't work. And from everything that I know about Teddy Roosevelt and everything I've learned in history class and everything that everyone's ever told me, something just was not adding up. And you've probably seen a lot of things like this, like a lot of quotes that are attributed to people that just don't really make sense. Maybe it's from someone who's really eloquent who probably wouldn't make such an inflammatory statement like that. Maybe it's attributed to someone like George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. There are a lot attributed to Donald Trump. Maybe you saw it while scrolling on Instagram or Politigram and, maybe your old racist Uncle Joe posted it on Facebook, but it just didn't seem to make sense to you. And I realized that there's a pretty common pattern between this, and here's why these just don't make sense. So, first of all, the quote that I just showed you is fake. I did some research. No one could verify that Theodore Roosevelt had actually said this, and actually a lot of websites that I checked said that this wasn't true, along with a lot of these other quotes that you're finding online, like Donald Trump saying that if he wanted to run, he'd run as a Republican because Republicans are stupid. That's fake. He didn't say that. Or Abraham Lincoln saying something about, how he hates Democrats and how Democrats are stupid. He didn't say that. Nobody has ever said a lot of these quotes that people are saying that they've said. But moving on, why this quote in particular struck me is because Theodore Roosevelt is known as one of the progressive presidents, and actually one of the most progressive presidents in recent political history. Teddy Roosevelt is famous for dealing with the economic problems after industrialization. He kind of ended this period of time known as the Gilded Age with his specifically progressive policies that hurt big businesses but helped consumers and workers. He's also known for helping the environment and trying to preserve the environment. These are two things that modern day Republicans are not famous for. In fact, they're more famous for trying to help big businesses and corporations over the consumers and workers. And at this point in time, a lot of them, specifically conservatives, are denying the existence of scientifically proven human-caused climate change. So a lot of his policies and his ideals directly conflict with that of modern-day Republicans, but he was still a Republican. So how does that happen? And that brings me to my main point about this quote and my main point in this video, which is something called party systems, where a party and its base completely changes even if the name stays the same. So today there are two major parties in the United States, along with a few smaller parties. The major parties are the Democrats and the Republicans. There's the Green Party, there are Libertarians, there are a lot of other parties, but the two main parties that usually get seats in Congress or go on to run for legislative positions are Democrats and Republicans. And these are the biggest parties, so they have the biggest support bases. So it wasn't always this way, though. I'm sure you've heard of parties like the Federalists, parties like the Whigs, parties that don't exist today but may have some of the same values as parties that we look at today. So that's because there are these things called party systems. So the first party system lasted from 1792 to 1824, the second party system from 1828 to 1854, the third party system from 1854 to the 1890s, the fourth party system from 1896 to 1932, and the fifth and sixth party systems mostly from 1933 to the present day. The issue with looking back 100 years and saying the Republicans have caused this, the Democrats have caused this, is because you're not looking at what the parties of today would actually do. Not only that it's in a different party system, but time has passed. Ideas have changed. The issues that we're trying to tackle have changed. If you really want to draw a comparison between parties today to parties in the past, you need to look at parties of the progressives and parties of the conservatives, because those are values that still hold true today. The Republicans being the party of conservatives and the Democrats being the party of progressives. Now, if you talk about Lincoln's Republican Party, that was the party of progressives. So while a lot of people are claiming Republicans freed the slaves, it wasn't the current Republicans, because that was a different party system. And actually, those people would be considered the Democrats of today, even though there's no comparison, because this happened years and years and years ago. And if you're talking about Democrats creating the KKK, that's actually not true. Not only was that a different party system and created years and years and years ago, but the KKK was created by the Party of Conservatives, and the Party of Conservatives today is Republicans. So if you're trying to make that comparison, which you shouldn't, because it was a different party system and a different time period where different things were considered okay or important, then you would say that it would be the Republicans. But we're not going to draw those comparisons, because there's this crazy thing called time. Time passes and progress is made and things change. So there's no need to take quotes from people that are false from years and years and years ago, from a different party system where the issues were different, where people had different ideologies in different parties, and try to make them relevant today. Because if you're going to take quotes from that long ago, and your party is the party of progressives, or your party is the party of conservatives, then you're saying that your party is the same as it was before, that you would like to somehow go back to that period of time. But no one wants to go back to any period of time before today, because today is the time where the most progress has been made. Progress is important. Time is important, and we're not going to look at our past and say it was better, because it wasn't. So many people didn't have rights. So we would like to look at the parties of today. We need to look at the parties of today and look at their faults now, not what people have said about them throughout history, and not their faults throughout history, because that's not important. Talking about these quotes from years and years and years ago, or these actions from years and years and years ago, isn't going to create progress. It's going to create hate. And that's not what we want. We want bipartisan agreement. We want the parties to work together to become a unified government, to work for the betterment of its people. Hey guys, I hope you liked this video. If you want more, please like and subscribe and comment down below. This is my dog. What you think I should talk about next. Thanks.